Hey, everyone! Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day or evening. Wherever you are in today's story, Opie found out his wife cheated on him after he noticed 2 used condoms in his trash bin that looked unfamiliar. He then noticed her affair partner was outside in the driveway. So he confronted both the wife and the affair partner, and now his wife is begging for mercy. In today's second story, Opie's wife suggested an open marriage and her life was completely wrecked after it. Now let's get into today's stories to find out what happened. I noticed a few things around the house. The couch was closer to the wall. I kept it away from it because it covered the vents. Otherwise, a water jug was constantly placed a different way in the fridge. We both lefties. There was a faint smell of cologne, not mine, that I noticed on the couch and in the bed. The confirmation came after I emptied the trash bin. Last week, I put a bag in the wrong way. So things were prone to slip to the side. So this week, 2 days ago when I was getting ready for trash day, 2 used condoms were sitting in the bin. I checked my nightstand and to my surprise, I found the notorious black Trojan Magnum box sitting at the back of a drawer along with 2 other empty boxes of assorted condoms. I've never bought Magnums in my life. Finally, I left the house to run errands yesterday, and halfway to the first and farthest location I realized I left my phone at home and decided to head back as I'm useless without shopping lists and reminders. As I reach my driveway, I noticed a Porsche sitting in it on a hunch. I parked 2 houses down and remotely opened my garage door and closed it as I would any other day. I waited a few seconds and a man of comparable age to my own jumped out from my backyard, shirt in hand, got into his vehicle and sped off. I entered my house to find my wife curled up in her recliner with her face in her hands. I told her that I saw her friend and was going to ask what all was going on. But upon walking towards her, I smelled the dreaded cologne. I spent the night in my car parked in a free parking garage. We haven't spoken since. She seemed happy. I'll reluctantly admit to noticing no change in her behavior aside from being too tired for sex and not being all that interested in cuddling or doing much else in the realm of physical touch with me. At least we last tried before Valentine's Day this year. But her tiredness began long before that. I want to think I did my best, washed dishes, did my own laundry, helped with hers, co-trash, mopped, swept, spent time with her away from electronics, either reading or watching shows without being on my phone. I won't go on because of redundancy. I'm lost and confused. I'm not a saint, but I don't talk to other females aside from at work or simple hi to a cashier or coworker. I stopped looking at porn long before we got married, among other things, to show her respect. I'd like to know what I did wrong that threw her into the arms of another. But also, I'm probably not in the best place to talk to her, yet worse comes to worst, we get divorced and I start again or something. That's probably the only scenario I believe in forgiveness, but I also don't forget. Thank you for reading update. I'd like to take a moment and say thank you to the kind souls out here. You hear about it, know someone who goes through it, and you don't think twice until it happens to you. I want to say that I'll be me in no time, but it will take time for the moment. I am consulting with a lawyer. I'm not wishing to drag this out. The house is a rental. I'll deal with the lease as well through friends. I've gotten 2 suitcases worth of clothes out of the house. My electronics are with me and our bank account is just hers with enough money for the week. Streaming passwords have been changed and I found a room with our church pastor. It will be a long road. I'm repeating the phrase, "It's not your fault," as many times in my head as I can. It seems to help. I might move back home or maybe just start somewhere else. I have some marketable skills and certifications. So hopefully that comes in handy. Well, here are my thoughts on the situation. Cheaters usually try to control the narrative by giving their version of the story before yours. You need to anticipate she will and tell all the facts to families and shared friends. You need to drop your atomic bomb first, so to speak, to clarify to everybody once and for all and in no uncertain terms. Who's the You did nothing wrong in long-term relationships. It's normal to have periods when one may feel bored, stuck in a routine, overwhelmed by work or whatever. Mature adults, however, discuss any issue with their partners, see if they're fixable, and then leave the relationship if no viable solution can be found. Cheaters, on the other hand, are people with colossal character flaws. They prefer to have sex and have affairs with other people behind your back, which in turn requires being dishonest, having a ton of lies, manipulation, and exposing your health to STDs. And let's not forget, she was denying you sex. Not because she was stressed or whatever, but because she was having sex with another dude. No, you didn't do anything wrong. This is 100% on her. This is entirely on her shoulders, and do not ever take responsibility for the trauma and abuse she inflicted on you. I know it will be hard, but I believe you can get past this. Now, let's get into today's second story. I was married for 2 years at the time. My wife was a serious TikTok junkie who sent me at least 20 a day. We were both in our early 20s. She started sending ones about open marriages and also some podcasts. We had a few long talks about how we were young and should try it before we were old and had kids. After a few months of pushing and pushing, I gave in and we set up some boundaries: no unprotected sex, nothing in our house, and no overnight stays. And if sex occurred with someone else, no details and no touching each other for 30 days. Plus a doctor's visit and being cleared before any intimacy between us. We opened our marriage and she started going on dates on Friday nights. I worked anyway and I got home normally around 10 p.m. for the first year. It was kind of fun. She went out on a date and by the time I got home, she was already home or getting home at the same time. She told me what they did on the date and then she jumped me. They were just dates, no sex or intimacy. During this first year, I myself went on 3 dates and each one went the exact same way. They found out I was married and it was not what they were looking for. They told me it was nice meeting me after 3 dates. I quit. Then one Friday night she didn't get home until like 3 a.m. She came in and made a joke about being too sore and tired for anything. I saw some hickey marks on her chest and thighs, and I'm not going to lie. I was hurt and upset by this on Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember. She tried to initiate with me and I reminded her of rule number 3. She gave me the, "Are you serious? 30 days in a doctor's visit." I said yes, deadly serious. This became a pattern for us. She went out with her bad boy on Friday nights, had her fun. Then spent the rest of the week trying to get me to change rule number 3. To me, it felt like she had put me on a shelf. I started avoiding her, working more and being out of the house more. Even if I was just out walking, I started becoming a lot more physically active and lost some weight. She was fully in a fog of new relationship energy and didn't notice and thought I was out doing my own thing. 5 months of being on a shelf, I was not seeing a reason to remain in the marriage. I was selling my happiness so that she could be happy, and I was running out of things to sell up to that point. She had not broken any boundaries, and every time I brought up that she should maybe step back from him, she always said that I was overreacting or blowing it way out of proportion and that it was just some fun. One night a week, our 4th wedding anniversary day arrived and I took the day off work to make her dinner and clean the house. She got home from work at 4, hopped in the shower and got dressed up. Then she told me she was going to a bar to see a local band and not to wait up. She completely forgot about our anniversary. I was destroyed. I woke up Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. She had never come home. Boundary number 2 was broken. I sent her one simple text. "You have broken our boundary of not sleeping over. I am done at 11:30. She started calling to tell me she had just closed her eyes for a second and passed out. She said that it was an accident, that she was so sorry and that it would never happen again. My unwillingness to even talk about it caused her to wake up out of her fog a bit. She ended up coming to my work just before we opened and made a scene in front of the whole staff and the owners. I was finally able to calm her down enough and she left. I promised that on Sunday we could discuss it. I got home from work Saturday night and she once again tried to have sex with me. And I again reminded her of rule number 3. She then told me that she would no longer be seeing him and wanted to close the marriage and work on reconnecting with me. It seemed that she had freaked out when she woke up there and saw my texts and that he had made fun of her, and she realized how much an asshole he was. She tried every day to be intimate with me and failed badly. At that point I had no need or want or desire for her. She was a roommate. Barely 30 days went by and she went to the doctor and got checked out. She was clean of diseases but was pregnant. Not sure where her mind was with this, but she came home excited and told me we were pregnant. I told her that I hoped they would be happy together. She looked at me confused for a few minutes and then started crying. A few days later, she sent him a text telling him his response was, "Wow, sucks to be you. You might want to pass it off as your husband's." I filed for divorce soon after she started doing anything and everything to change my mind about the divorce, making promises, begging, pleading, offering everything under the sun and asking for a chance to fix us. I was polite and nice about it, but I wasn't having any of it. I was stuck living with her for a while until our lease was up. We fell into a new pattern. She tried to be intimate with me. I turned her down. She got upset. I went for a run. My resentment of her was growing just like her baby bump. 3 weeks ago, she came into my room to talk. She brought home pizza for dinner and started talking about how it being pregnant. She was super horny all the time and she tried yet again to have sex with me. I at that point was running out of politeness. I told her sorry, I'm not into fat chicks. Maybe hit Tinder. I'm sure someone on there would be down for it. She left my room crying also. We had our first divorce hearing and the judge slapped 6 weeks of marriage counseling on us. Court ordered we went to 2 sessions, kind of a meet and greet thing, talking to us separately to get our stories. I guess I just wanted it to be over so we can move on with our lives. Last Sunday was my birthday. On the Friday before it, she asked me to spend my birthday with her to celebrate it. I declined her invitation. She kept pushing the subject and I snapped. I told her that I didn't want to waste special occasions on her anymore. The last one was our 4th anniversary, in which she went out to get knocked up by some pothead loser. I left her crying in the kitchen, headed to work and told her I would see her on Monday for our court-ordered waste of time. Monday morning. I was at marriage counseling. She never showed. I called her nothing. I called her friends. Nothing. I called her parents and I found out she got arrested Sunday morning for DUI and endangerment and that they were on the way. I offered our house for them to stay at. I had a couch at a friend's house. My lawyer went to the judge and expedited things. My divorce finalized this past Friday yesterday. I helped them pack some of her stuff and today I'm going to help them load a U-Haul. They rented, she gets released tomorrow and they're taking her back home with them. She wants to see me, but I feel that will just be worse for the both of us. We both need to move on. Wow. I'm sorry, you had to go through that. Open relationships typically don't work. Open marriages in particular. She wanted to have her fun and have you for stability and the backup plan. What perplexes me is the audacity of her expecting you to care for a child that's not biologically yours, as if that detail shouldn't matter. And that your marriage should just go back to how things were before, as if her actions had no impact or would have no consequences. Don't sign the birth certificate until DNA conclusively marks you as the parent. You should have started talking about a divorce the moment open marriage was discussed. If you're not into that, it's just sentencing the marriage to a slow death sentence. Also, in general, wives will have many more options in an open marriage. It's clear she doesn't love you, but she was afraid of being alone. It's time for you to move on to bigger and better things. I wish you luck, Opie. Thanks for taking the time to listen to today's stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and comment below on what your thoughts are on today's stories. If there's a story you would like to share with me about your own situation or someone else's, then please do